Success shouldn't feel this exhausting. If you're winning on paper, but burning out behind the scenes, you aren't failing. You're stuck in a psychological bottleneck called a hurdle of stop. I've been there. On the outside, things look great, but I was secretly burning out, convinced I was just lucky, and waiting to be exposed as a fraud. I realized I didn't have a business problem. I had a mindset block. Whether it's imposter syndrome, perfectionism, or fear or failure, these aren't just feelings. They are growth bottlenecks. Identify your specific hurdle and get one immediate action step to regain your momentum today. Go to tuepodcast.net/quiz. That's tuepodcast.net/quiz to take the 3-minute assessment and get your report now. Salutations, School Believer. Do you have a dream of becoming an entrepreneur, but don't know where to start or even what to do? Where can I gather information quickly about what's in my zone of genius? Don't worry, School Believers. I got you covered. Go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt and check out an amazing set of AI prompts that will give you ideas, information, and articles to help you get across that start line. Once again, go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt to get you started now. Good luck, School Believer. Hello there, School Believer. Hey, if you're anything like me, I am just so tired of going from screen to screen to screen, trying to figure out my analytics for all of my social medias and trying to figure out where I can put any and all my energies to get as much reach as I can. Well, I think I've finally found the solution. Elementary analytics. That's right, elementary analytics. Now, at a single press of a button, I can see all my social media analytics from Google to Twitter to Facebook, all my important information all on one screen. All on one screen. Can you believe it? And if you really needed to, you could print charts for any possible meetings you might have. If you want to learn more about this amazing program, go to tuepodcast.net/EA for a 14-day free trial with no credit card needed. That's tuepodcast.net/EA for a 14-day free trial. Try it right now and see what it can do for you. Undiscovered Entrepreneur, episode number 20. I made it to 20. I made it to 20. I made it to 20.
Us heart-driven people, we have everything it takes to succeed. And the only thing that we truly need to overcome is our self-limiting beliefs. And we all have a different set of self-limiting beliefs. So whatever that might be, raising awareness for our self-limiting beliefs, and then becoming more aware of our self-limiting beliefs, and then conquering them and following our intuition.
Welcome to the Undiscovered Entrepreneur, the podcast where brand new entrepreneurs come to life and could quite possibly be discovered. Join me, DJ Scoob, and the rest of the Scoob Believers as we help these new businesses become a reality. And now, away we go! Hello, Scoob Believer, and welcome to episode 20. I can't believe it. Episode 20. I'm so excited. I can't believe I made it this far. Episode 20 is just one of those milestones I really wasn't sure if I was even going to be able to hit when I first started this whole thing. So I'm so glad to be able to get to episode 20. In celebration of doing episode 20, I've decided to do a block. That's right, a special edition block of experienced entrepreneurs that are probably some of the biggest people that I've talked to yet on my show. So on this episode, we're talking to none other than Espree Devora. Now, Espree Devora is a very well-seasoned podcaster. She's been featured in magazines and also in SPI, and is really all over the place, and she's been doing it for a really long time. So let's go ahead and listen to her story about her pitfalls and how genuine she actually talks about her pitfalls and how authentic she really is about them. Also, she has a fantastic resource for entrepreneurs that are looking for mentors and to get inspiration and learn from them, and the differences between making a decision in fear and a decision in something that feels right for you. So let's listen to the most amazing Espree Devora. Salutations, Scoop Believers, and we are here again with another amazing entrepreneur. But we're doing something a little bit different than we normally do. We have somebody, probably the most exciting person I've ever had on the show up to this point.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? Today we're talking to Espree. Hey, Espree, how are you?
I'm now a Scuba Believer.
All right. Well, she didn't give me a chance to answer the question. That is so great, boy. Man, it makes my heart feel so good. All right. So you're obviously a scuba believer, so I don't even have to ask that question. So that's great. All right. So Espree, I definitely know who you are. I've been following you for a while, along with Pat and everybody else. But I know there's a couple people that might not know who you are. So if you could please just tell me a little bit about yourself and your entrepreneur adventure and how you actually got started.
Sure. Well, I'll give the 2-second background, and then you'll guide me to where you'd like me to go. So I'm not talking too long in the intro. We know how those intros go. My name is Espree Devora. I've been podcasting since 2013. I have a couple popular shows, Women in Tech and We Are LA Tech. I've produced over 1,000 episodes. I was the face of Clubhouse. I think it's Entrepreneur says, or maybe it's Inc. magazine. I don't even know. It says like I'm one of the top 30 women in tech to follow. And my podcasts were featured on Harper's Bazaar. My biggest entrepreneurial love affair was building the first action sports social network. I'm really proud of that company. And I am a founder, a community builder, a writer, and a heart-driven person.
Wow, that's amazing. You have done just so much in your time. I'm just like in awe at this point, just that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Here, just a quick question here. Now, in your first year, because a lot of my listeners and a lot of people I talk to, we talk about their first year in their entrepreneur adventure. So in your first year of your entrepreneur adventure, did you have any really serious pitfalls or problems that you came across getting your entrepreneur adventure started?
I have pitfalls and challenges every single hour. So I was born to be an entrepreneur. I didn't decide to become a founder. It just happened. It's something I've wanted since I was a little girl, 4 or 5 years old. I'd say the way I'm going to answer this question is the thing that I've learned is my intuition is my oracle. Our intuition is our oracle. And the biggest mistake I made in building my first companies is I kept thinking someone else is smarter than me. Someone else knows more than me. Now, I do believe in mentorship, and I think experience is amazing. But I think we shouldn't discredit our gut feelings and our intuition. And I think we shouldn't discredit how important our own drive and our own passion is. And I think in building my company, I did discredit. I was like, if I could only find the right seasoned, older person with X amount of years in this topic, then I will succeed. Rather than looking at myself saying, I have already I built that first action sports media company. So it's I put together a video crew on my own with no experience. I have been in the biggest action sports events with Tony Hawk and Ryan Sheckler and all these people with my high school journalism background. I raised money on my own with no connections. I did all of this by taking chances, passion, and intuition. So to think and to give so much credit to an unknown person that I felt believed in the ether would magically make everything work was a shame. And so I think our intuition is our oracle, and that in our podcast, entrepreneurial and founder journeys, it's really important to believe in ourselves first. And I don't mean from a place of arrogance or cockiness. I mean from a place of We have a special gift, all of us. And when I say all of us, I'm going to just say good, kind-hearted people. Like, I'm very allergic to a-holes, so I'm not counting them on my island. I just got the good peeps on my island. Us heart-driven people, we have everything it takes to succeed. And the only thing that we truly need to overcome is our self-limiting beliefs. And we all have a different set of self-limiting beliefs. So whatever that might be, raising awareness for our self-limiting beliefs, and then becoming more aware of our self-limiting beliefs, and then conquering them and following our intuition.
Wow, that was just a load of amazing information, all wrapped up in like a minute and a half. I love that. That's so awesome. A couple of things I'd like to follow up with you on, as far as what you said. When you're just getting started out, you really have to compare yourself to yourself. Mm-hmm. Don't compare yourself to a lot of other people that are so much further out than you that you'll just figure out you'll never get there, because they're going to have their adventure and you're going to always be behind them. And it gets really depressing sometimes when you just realize you're not that far away. So instead of you comparing yourself to them, compare yourself to yourself a week ago, compare yourself to yourself a month ago. That way you know where you're going and where to follow. I'm also a big advocate of mentors. If you can get somebody to follow that knows what they're doing, even if they're not an actual person next to you, you're actually physically talking. I think I've said his name at least once or twice in every podcast that I've put out. But Pat Flynn is definitely my virtual mentor, because I follow him, what he does. And I always just love to see how he comes along, and I always just kind of emulate, not exactly what he's doing, but enough to where I could see where I'm headed.
Wait, before you go to following your gut on mentorship, for those of you who think, yes, I don't know anyone, I don't know how to get in touch with someone, how do I even find the right person? There's a great old school resource called SCORE, SCORE, and it's retired business people who just want to give back. It doesn't cost anything. It's absolutely free. Everyone is seasoned, and I believe it's like government run or city run. I don't know. There's just no cost. It's great, and it's been around forever. So Google SCORE, capital SCORE, and you could easily attain a mentor that way.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for that resource. We're definitely going to have that in the show notes, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody wants to take advantage of that, do it. Espree says it's good, so it's got to be good, right? But yeah, going back to following your gut, it's really important to kind of set with yourself about what you're doing and how you're doing it, and make sure it fits with your personality and what you want to do with yourself. So thank you so much for that great information, Espree. Really appreciate it. So we actually touched a little bit on mentors. Did you have somebody that you always looked up to when you first got started, somebody that you emulated as a mentor?
I've had so many mentors. I'll start with my mentor now, and then I'll share some of my mentors. Well, the first person that comes to mind is my mom. I wouldn't say she was my mentor, but she was my inspiration. She taught me things like that anything is possible within my imagination, that every no is one step closer to a yes. My mom's a public speaker, so I would watch her on stage and create this phenomenal experience with the audience. She had a relationship with the audience. It wasn't just about, she never spoke at them. It was they were having together. And so she was someone I really learned a lot from and continue to learn a lot from. Formal mentors, I've never really had a formal mentor. I've had different people like you with Pat Flynn, where I'm like, I really admire the way that they do something. So I'm going to pay close attention to how they do it so that I could overcome my self-limiting beliefs and kind of emulate that to a bit in a way that's authentic for me. Right now I say Iman Gaji. I can never pronounce his last name correctly, but he's amazing. I believe he's 22. He's completely self-made. He grew up really poor. He didn't have any connections, and he just decided to focus on meditation and reading business books every week. And he created a life for himself where now he's like dripping in wealth. It's ridiculous. And it's all on his own work and his own mind without knowing anyone. And I really admire him. I admire his self-worth. I admire the boundaries he puts into place. I admire his vulnerability. I admire that he's heart-driven. And to me, he has the perfect balance between being a heart-driven leader and an absolute capitalist. He meets right in the middle. So people can't and don't take advantage of him, but he serves, like he's building schools all over Nepal. He's absolutely amazing. So I look up to him a lot. My mentor, Rob, who is the co-founder of staff.com, he's someone I met. He was featured on a Mixergy interview. I didn't know him. I really aligned with what he was saying. So I reached out cold, essentially begging him to be my mentor, and said what I'm happy to give back. He was really open to it. We ended up forming a friendship. I think mentorship can almost be this buffet of intellect. And you just decide what kind of life skills or information you're looking to acquire in a particular chapter of your life. And then you seek out and just you see who's open to being a part of that journey with you. And so there's been many different people throughout my life. If I've ever had a formal mentor, I'd say my most formal mentor was Montserrat Fontes. She is this extraordinary woman, high school journalism teacher and author and badass and just amazing. And she nicknamed me Press Kit. I was very afraid to reach out. I was a high school journalist. I was afraid to reach out to media publications and like, who am I? I'm like a kid. And she just made me do it anyway. She didn't care that I was scared. She's like, no, you're doing this. Nicknamed me Press Kit, even made a sweatshirt. I still have it. It's my favorite sweatshirt. And I ended up interviewing some of the world's biggest celebrities and writing articles about them because she showed me that all I needed to do is put myself out there and ask. Like, that's the thing. Like, there's so many, I have more than like a couple followers on social. And sometimes I'll hear people say, man, I thought I couldn't talk to you because you had X amount of followers. Now, every time I hear something, I'm like, wow, I just like having followers doesn't make me better than anyone or special. Like, I'm just a human being like you are. So that's the thing. When we take out these like perceptions that we have of others, verification marks, movie roles, follower counts, and we just look at everybody as just a human being, just like ourselves, all of a sudden the world's become so much more accessible to us.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing too. Don't be afraid to ask. I mean, the worst they're going to say is no. Okay, no, the world didn't end. The sun's going to come up the next day. It doesn't matter. But you never know. They actually might say yes. Actually, matter of fact, that's how I got you on my show. I just wanted to ask and see what you'd say.
And I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah. Me.
Right? But the other thing I like to, the last young lady that you talked to, she got you out of your comfort zone to be able to go out and talk to these people, even though they're kind of more successful and that kind of thing. She pushed you to get you out of your comfort zone. And that's what I stress to a lot of people that I talk to. Get out of that comfort zone because you never know. And if you don't do it, there's a good chance you're going to regret not having that opportunity. So thank you so much for telling us all that great information and all those great mentors that you've had in your lifetime.
Yeah, know the difference between making a fear-based decision versus making a decision that feels best because it's right for you. There's a difference between I'm scared to do that, but if I did that, it would be very energizing if it worked, versus I just like, that's just not right for me. Like, it doesn't feel good to me. I don't want that. Even if the answer was yes, if it's not something I really want in my life. A lot of the time we're making choices because we're afraid, not because it's not what we don't actually want for ourselves.
That's right. And actually, fear is one of my greatest things I like to talk about. I personally lean into fear. When I'm scared of something, I always kind of lean towards it because something's telling me that that's actually something I should do because it gets me out of that comfort zone. And I'm going to go ahead and say my favorite acronym because I always do when I talk about fear, FEAR, false evidence appearing real. Mm-hmm. It's actually not something that's going to kill you, but give it a try anyway because you never know what's going to happen next. So don't be too scared about it. Don't be scared to ask somebody, hey, will you be on my podcast? I got you on my podcast that way. I got Cliff Ravenscraft on my podcast that way.
He's awesome.
He is great. He was an awesome interview. Okay, so I'm going to transition to a different question here. Now, in hindsight, since you've had all this time, is there one particular failure that you're proud of and why?
What came up for me when you asked that was my sports company. It's the most epic experience ever. The thing about that word and the thing that made me take pause is anything really a failure if we're learning from all of it and just leveling up throughout our lives? Like if our whole life is like one big journey, then technically nothing really like failed because it's serving some purpose of value. But the classic failure, I had this company for several years, madly in love with my company, gave everything, money, spirit, time to the company. It didn't end up ultimately where I had aspired for it to go. For a lot of years, I thought I failed. I even went into a terrible depression, didn't know who I was anymore because my identity was my company. If I had to do that company all over again in the exact same way with the exact same failure, give it to me 20,000 times. Most epic ride of my life. Like, and it was painful in some moment, but it was just like incredible. And to know that I gave life my all, and I continue to give life my all. I have some down moments, but like overall, I really like give life my all. It's just so exciting to know that I've lived that way and that I took chances. I mean, my sports company, I said, led to meeting with the top pro athletes in the world, something that was exciting for me. Learning about startup life and venture capital and the kind of network I made. And I could go on and on just because it was like I was a rock star. I mean, I didn't know I was a rock star at the time, but now looking back, I'm like, yeah, you were awesome, And so I just think the more that we show up to life and to ourselves, no matter how afraid we are, like that's never a failure, no matter how it turns out. As long as you don't hurt anyone and you live a life of integrity, like showing up to yourself and to life, even if it's a societal perceived failure, like a company not working, it just is. It's just another chapter in one big book.
Yeah. And that's really what failure is about, is to learn from those failures and to take whatever you learned from that failure into your next adventure and just make it that much better. So even though we all have failures at one point or another, we just can't forget that that's just part of the experience. That's just part of the journey.
I don't like that word failure. Like, think about it. Is Kodak a failure that Kodak doesn't exist anymore? Or one of these big, department stores, I think Sears or whatever, or, like, are these things failures? How can a company be around for 100 years or whatever it is, and then not work out for whatever reason, and now it's a failure because it didn't work out after 100 years? Like, that term failure, I think it needs an edit.
Right? And there's another acronym. I love acronyms, if you couldn't tell. Fail is first attempt in learning.
That I love.
Yeah. See,
first attempt in learning. Yeah. See, I dig that.
And that's kind of what I think about too. My podcast actually came about from a failure. So it's because of that failure I have the podcast. So even though I had that failure, it actually led me to where I am today, being able to talk to you today. So I'm not really going to count that as a failure, just part of what I'm doing. So
awesome.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a question here. And this is actually from the SPI community, because I talked to you about you a little bit and coming onto my show. And this is from Jody Gregory from the SPI community. And she asked, are there ways you... Let me try that again. Are there ways you have used to get feedback from podcast episodes besides analytics? So when you have a podcast, how are you getting feedback from your podcast besides looking at analytics?
So I rarely look at analytics. It's the least important thing to me. I maybe look at analytics maybe once a year, if even that. I look to see how I'm impacting community because people will email me or they'll tell me on social media. I also am asking myself, am I leveraging the time I'm investing into creating my content to the utmost purposes? So like, am I repurposing my podcast episodes into blog posts, into Twitter posts, into things that are really meaningful and thoughtful for everybody else? And I ask myself how many people are joining my community that is mentioned on my podcast. I don't even look at those analytics, to be honest, but I just kind of look at I don't like to get caught up in analytics because it takes me away from, it can be so discouraging or depleting sometimes. Sometimes it's like this huge dopamine hit where you have like thousands of people. And then let's say 1 month I had thousands of people. And then in the next month I had 750. All of a sudden the 750 is like really small compared to the thousands. But like 750 people in one room is a lot of humans. 20 people in one room is a lot of humans. So I just try to stay focused on my purpose rather than analytics. But I look for like community indicators for people mentioning things or how it's inspired them, LinkedIn outreach. People reach out in so many ways. Yeah.
All right. That's awesome. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that will look at my analytics every 30 seconds. So I'm trying to get away from that. But does
it feel discouraging?
Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. It's it just depends on the day, I guess. I really got to stop doing that. Okay, so real quick, what I'd like to know is what advice would you give to someone that's looking to start in entrepreneurship? I mean, is there any like 1 or 2 words of advice you'd give somebody?
Yeah. Ask yourself why, because just because everybody else is doesn't mean you need to. And if you're after freedom of time, let me tell you that entrepreneur is not time freeing. I may have more flexibility than someone else, but I work a lot and I barely have time for myself, so much to the point that I need to be really intentional and proactively make sure that I'm making time for myself, make sure that I'm getting sleep, because these things are really important. But being an entrepreneur is not a direct equivalent to freedom of time. Flexibility in time, yes, but not freedom of time. So make sure that you understand why you want to be an entrepreneur. Make sure you build a company that matches the lifestyle that you want to create for yourself, so that in end, because you've built a company that matches the lifestyle that you aspire for, therefore you can have freedom of time because you've built it into how the company operates.
All right. Some great words of advice. That's all, folks. Let me try that again. This is real, ladies and gentlemen. We're actually going to keep that in there. Okay. This great advice. Thank you so much for actually being able to go through that with us. So one thing I like to do with all my guests is find out a 6-month goal. So where do you see you and your company in the next 6 months?
Yeah. So I actually don't have future thinking goals anymore. I used to when I had my sports company. Now I do a check-in every day, a self-audit. How do I feel? How's my body feel? How do my shoulders feel? How's my brain feel? Am I eating well that my body feels good? Do I feel energized? Do I feel tired? Because I want the existence that I have here to be really enjoyable. So if I notice that I don't feel enjoyable in my body and in my mind, I want to make tweaks like that hour, that day. And if I notice that's going on for a few days in a row, then in order to not have something really terrible happen, because that's usually how the body responds. It's like the more you let things go, you're not going to be able to walk, you're going to get backaches, all this stuff. I'm like, no, this is now an emergency priority to make sure I'm okay. So I really don't look 6 months out. I look every day. Am I living a life of inner ease more often than not?
Wow. All right. I think I'm going to start doing that too. Looking 6 months up so far. I mean, it's good to set a goal for yourself, but at the same time, having a daily check-in to make sure that I myself, as a human being, is doing okay on a daily basis. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So we're kind of wrapping up here. Espree, if you want to go ahead and, if anybody wants to get a hold of you or talk to you or anything like that, how do we get a hold of you? Let's go ahead and hear it.
Sure. You could reach out on Twitter at Espree Devora, ESPREEDEV, like Victor, ORA. I'm also on Instagram, same handle, or email me espree@hey.com. That's espree@hey.com.
All right. Espree, oh my gosh, it's been such an amazing pleasure to have you on my show. And what I'd like to do is, and I actually asked this of all my guests, if I could follow up with you in about 6 months and just to see how things are going for you. Is that okay?
You got it.
All right.
Totally got it.
All right. Thank you, Scuba Believers, for a great show. And
I'm a Scuba Believer.
Yes. And thank you so much. And make sure y'all stay tuned for the wrap up. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. right, Scoop Believers, that was Espree Devora. Man, that was such a fantastic interview. She had such a great personality, and I had just a blast being able to talk to her and kind of pick her brain a little bit to see what kind of information I can get for all you Scoop Believers out there. So a couple of things that really stuck out in my mind was her thoughts on failure. You know, kind of like when she talked about, well, is Kodak a failure, or Sears a failure, just because they lasted a whole 100 years or whatever. It kind of gives a different dimension to failure and what it actually means to the individual. And I also like the fact how she figures out the impact she's making on her listeners by the impact she has on her community and the feedback that she gets from other people. That's definitely a great way to be able to see that you're making a difference in other people's lives besides, you know, just the analytics, which really doesn't seem that important to her. They are a little bit important to me at this point, but I don't know if that's just kind of a mental hurdle I need to get over. But I think the one thing that really sticks out the most is how she measures her goals. She doesn't necessarily have, you know, like a 6-month goal or a year goal or future goals like she used to when she had the sports channel, but just a self audit for herself to make sure, how am I feeling for the day? Do I have any strange pains? What am I thinking right now? And how is that affecting me today on a day-to-day basis? That is just, I'm like I said, I'm going to totally start doing this. This has got to be a good way to be able to kind of keep things together just on a daily basis. I was really so excited to have Espree Devora on my podcast, and I hope you learned something from her. That's for darn sure. All right, so like I said, this is definitely a special edition. It's a 3-part series, like I said before. Our next interview is going to be a woman that I interviewed that had a fantastic idea with the healing power of laughter and how she turned that not just into a business, but just a community of people and love and honesty with everybody that's around her and what she does with it. So just make sure you stay tuned. Subscribe to my podcast so you can hear that coming up. If you want to get a hold of me for anything, please contact me on Twitter, which is DJ Scoob. That's SKOOB 2021. If you want to get a hold of me on email, you could get a hold of me at uepodcast.net2021@gmail.com. If you want to see the resources that I use and the books that I read that I use for my entrepreneurial adventure, please visit my website at uepodcast.net. If you have any questions about my entrepreneur adventure and how things are working out for me, please feel free to contact me in the aforementioned places. All right. Thank you so much, Scoop Believer, and you have a great day, okay? Hello there, DJ Scoob here, and I just want to personally say thank you for listening to my program. I really hope you learned something. Tune in 2 weeks to listen to another brand new entrepreneur. And remember, I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today.
El agua.
El agua, the water. Okay.
El pan.
El pan, the bread. All right.
Yo como manzanas.
Yo como manzanas. I eat apples. Yeah.
La leche.
La leche, the milk. I got food down pretty good. I used to work at restaurants here.
La leche.
La leche, the milk. All right.
El hombre bebe agua.
El hombre bebe agua. The man drinks water. Ooh, okay, cool. I didn't think I'd get that one.
Yo bebo agua.
Yo bebo agua. Yo bebo agua. I drink water. All right.
¿Tú comes manzanas?
You eat apples. Ooh, I'm on a roll.
Yo bebo. Tú bebes. Él bebe.
You drink. He drinks. Woot. Tap the matching pairs. I is yo. Milk is leche.
Leche.
Boy is niño.
Niño.
Pan is bread.
Pan.
And he is El.
Él.
Woot. All right. As a worker of 2 full-time jobs, running a podcast and coaching, every minute counts in my day-to-day. It's hard to be consistent in any of my social medias. And at this point, I cannot hire a social media manager. Pinnacle AI to the rescue! I've been using Pinnacle AI for a couple of weeks now and seeing big improvements in my outreach and consistency in all my social medias. Do you want to save time and increase your productivity too? Go to tuepodcast.net/AI for more information. Save yourself time and grow your brand. Try it now and see what it can do for you.
Hello, Screw Believers. Let me ask you a real quick question. How many cups of coffee have you had today? 3, 5, 7? And let me guess, you've got a Red Bull in the other hand just in case, right? Yeah, I see you. Now, here's the truth bomb nobody wants to hear. You're not building a business. You're building a caffeine dependency. Listen, I get it. When you're grinding 12, 14, 16-hour days, you're building something from nothing. When you've got payroll to meet, investors to impress, and visions that won't wait. You need fuel. But what if I told you that the fuel that you're using is actually slowing you down? What if the very thing that you think is keeping you sharp is actually making you dull? Enter Rise Coffee. This isn't your grandma's mushroom tea. This isn't some hippie wellness trend. This is science meets performance. And here's what makes Rise different. Less than half the caffeine of a regular cup of coffee. But here's the kicker. You won't miss it. 6 organic powerhouse mushrooms, including cordyceps, what Olympic athletes use, and lion's mane, what Silicon Valley biohackers swear by. Sustained energy that doesn't spike and crash. We're talking smooth, clean power from morning to moonlight. Crystal clear focus without the jitters. Imagine closing the deal with calm, confident mind instead of the caffeine chaos. Gut health and immune support, because what's the point of building an empire if you're too sick to enjoy it? So here's the challenge to you. Stop borrowing energy from tomorrow. Stop running on fumes and call it a hustle. Stop wearing your caffeine addiction like a badge of honor. Real entrepreneurs optimize, real entrepreneurs adapt, real entrepreneurs win. You can't win if you're crashing at 2 p.m. while your competition is just getting started. Break the cycle. Head to risesuperfoods.com right now and use code PODNA15 for 50% off your first order. That's PODNA15 for 15% off. Try it for 30 days. If you don't feel the difference, if you don't feel sharper, calmer, more focused, more alive, then go back to your 6-a-day cup habit. But I'm telling you, you won't, because once you feel what real energy feels like, you'll never go back. Ditch the addiction, fuel your empire, and rise up. Rise Coffee, energy that builds, not burns.